already shot full of holes.
All right, are we live or what? Yes, we are. I see live. What's
All
up,
right, folks,
everybody?
let's go ahead, Ben.
No, I was just saying, what's up, everybody? We're ready
All
to
right,
rock and
man. Let's
roll.
Zach, introduce yourself, brother.
Yeah, hey, I'm Zach. I don't know how you guys do introductions. I jumped in the army in 2008, like a dirty bastard that I am. I was an 18 X-ray and idiotically volunteered to be a Delta. 7th group guy. Eventually went back to school, jumped into 20th group, did some stuff there. Yeah, I did a little bit of work outside of the DoD with over in Iraq back in 2018, 2019. And then my wife said, no, no more. So I'm out of the game. No more
And
chasing
you
the
listened.
dragon.
You listened.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, yeah.
I recommend you, man. You got one wife, one marriage.
One wife, one marriage, 2 kids. Yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
bro, I'm gonna tell you this one, man. This is the most heartbreaking thing I've ever seen, man. So I was at SEAL Team 8, new dude, been there maybe 6, 7, 8 months.
yeah.
And we had this senior chief that was a savage. Okay. I'm not gonna give too much details because he got something wrong with him that everybody would know if I said it. And he lost like 60 pounds. And so I asked, I was in training at the time. I said, hey man, is he doing drugs? They're like,
Yeah.
nah, man, he getting a divorce. I said, what?
Uh,
They were like, yeah, man, he's been married 29 years.
What? Holy
And he told his
shit.
wife that at 25 years he would get out.
He didn't get out.
So this is what happened. This is what happened. So she said at 25, once you get out, he said, no, I'm gonna stay a little bit longer. He's 2 years later. 2 years later, she said, I'm gonna leave you at some point in the near future
Yeah,
if you don't get out.
yeah.
So he went on a training trip. He came back. His whole fucking house that he had lived in for fucking like 15 of those years was
done deal.
empty.
Yeah,
Done deal.
Empty. And
yeah.
so, like, that was the aftermath, was like those months that I was seeing, he hadn't eaten in like 3 or 4 months. Like he lost 60
He
pounds.
was
He was
he was
already in,
devastated.
yeah, he was in a great shape, dude. And that was early on. He ain't get her back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
man.
ain't get her back, man. So I commend you, Zach. Like that's a big one right there, brother. That's a really big one, man.
I had a guy, yeah, we were doing a little operation situation on a deployment, and the guy in the car next to me, we were talking, he was a retired SF guy. He hit it hard in the early 2000s. And he kind of looked at me and he was like, you have a college degree, you've got money, you've got a plan, like you can easily have a career on the outside, and you're here doing this shit. And I was like, yeah. And I'll never forget, he looked at me, he's like, bro, you owe it to me and all the other dudes that never made it home. Like, get out, go live your life, like, take care of your family, have kids. He's like, I have two divorced, I went through two divorces. I've got two kids that I don't really know, and now they just graduated high school. And I've got, thank God, I got a third that I get to spend time with. But I'm doing this because it's the only thing I know how to do. Like, I don't have a degree. All I know is 18 Bravo, 18 Zoo. Like, that's all I've ever done. I need to make money, and this is. But you're telling me you got other options. Like, bro, you owe it to me to go do that stuff. And that, to me, like that hit home hard. So yeah, I got out. I walked away.
Awesome, brother.
Yeah,
Awesome,
man,
Yeah.
for
man.
sure.
Yeah, awesome, bro. Because I'm gonna tell you, there's a lot of cats that ain't got that good a story. You
Yeah.
know, me and Ben know a dude, man. His whole world got blown up.
Yeah.
17 years of marriage, and just
Oh.
it was sad, man. Three
Oh.
kids disowned him.
Yeah.
Don't want to talk to him ever again. Just
Yeah.
terrible, man. So, all
That's
right,
rough
let's get
stuff.
started on the war room. It's Friday, baby. Jay is out. He got a bridal recital, not a bridal recital. One of them
Yeah,
little
same
kid
thing.
things, kid dance party for his daughter. Aaron's in here helping us because I messed up the first 18 minutes of this. We got crazy Bobby Boucher on here. Bobby, what you doing on this hot Friday?
Shit, man, getting ready to go to Winston Cup. I found this head down there earlier at the vintage place. We're gonna
That's a
go
nice one,
raise
man. That's a
hell and
nice one.
praise Dale.
Hey,
That's a
Bobby, let me tell you something, Bobby.
No, you ain't tell me
My
nothing. It's
wife,
too early to be telling me nothing now.
my wife from rural Virginia has a duffel bag full of race gear. Okay, she got the com set. She went to NASCAR. Her and her girlfriend love NASCAR. We went to NASCAR, man. She got the com set. You in there listening to the guys in the truck. I'm like, man, this loud, it's hot. I'm like, man, this sucks. She's like, I love this. She in it, man.
I got a
So Bobby,
NASCAR
I'm with you
story.
on that racing, bro. I'm with you on all them left turns.
I never been to one. Fucking, you know, they used to have one in Rockingham outside Fort Bragg out there. There been one. They said, hey, you got flag detail. I'm like, shit, I'll go out there, you know, whatever. I carried the flag out, you know, build TV and shit. But I had got drunk all goddamn night. If you get too drunk, it's better to just power through that motherfucker, because if you go sleep, it's over.
You're done. You're
know?
done deal.
So I went
That's
out
awesome.
there, and hopefully they wasn't focusing on me, because boy, I was shaking holding that motherfucking heavy bitch.
You ain't passed out or nothing though. You did good.
No, I kept it together. I can perform.
Now did you now did you get to walk around the pits too? Like
I
you
passed
royalty?
out in the pits later. That's I had went and got a turkey leg. You know what I'm saying? And I'm laying in the pits in the grass, eating on it and shit. And I passed out. There were about four or five laps left, whatever. So man, we got to roll out. Man, I see two of the guys come running by, and they got on. Remember, they had the jackets that had all the patches and Budweiser and all that shit. They got on patches, and they got two fucking tires. And I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? They're like, they jump up on this little bus we had. Like, go. Why they run us the fuck down? They stole Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s tires. Like when they pulled them off, they.
Oh yeah.
What?
Wait, are these army dudes? These army dudes?
Oh, they're the guys with you.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
They
awesome.
Absolutely,
yeah,
bro. Absolutely. So in college athletics and pro athletics, they're taking a lot of big dudes, man. They got tryouts. They always post them out like to be they hire coaches to coach, and then they hire big time athletes to change tires and do all the stuff. NASCAR is a machine, man. It's a machine.
Yeah. Oh, just because they know like the process, like that precise process.
Y'all change my name to Aaron.
What you want? You want to be Aaron tonight?
I'm gonna change my shit to Aaron.
Hang on, let me see if I can change your name, Bobby. You know, oh shit, I got it right here. Yeah. Beautiful Bobby. Bobby Boucher.
Aaron Love, but make mine L-U-V.
L. Hey, Bobby, you know I learned to spell in college. L-U-V-E. Okay, there we go. Got it. Okay, you good.
Hey, Jake, that's for real, though. They hire all these athletes and everything. Is that because, like, how competitive the pits are and all that? And just because they know precision, they know team. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, they hire a bunch of NFL dudes, ex-NFL dudes. There's a bunch of because like think about it, man. They had a bunch of wrench heads that weren't physically like blessed, and now they got physically blessed dudes, and all they got to do is slam a tire on and hit it with a gun in 0.1 seconds. Oh, they good on that.
Yeah. So, and they're time competitive. They're used to that stuff too.
You know, and the other thing is they're hiring football coaches and because a lot of video review.
I want to bring up something, man.
It's amazing.
And this bugs me all the time. Is I hear people talking about athletes, whatever, and we used to have a guy that used to come in to MMA gym all the time. All right, I fought for like 12 years, and what I'm gonna tell you is he was the level of athlete. Within 3 weeks, you could send him to the professionals.
Yeah.
Like he had that kind of muscle strength and tendons, and like he was just unbelievable. And then I tell people, I was like, you got levels to this shit. You know, I was like, you got here. I said, then you got him, which would be a high level. I said, then, but when you get to them collegiate or the fucking Olympics, I was like, bro,
it's another story, man. That's the thing is that
they're like
people don't realize
like aura around them and shit.
People don't realize that what a difference athleticism makes. Like they think like, you know, I'm badass, this and that. But if you got someone that's really twitchy, man, they just move quicker than you do, and they know what they're doing a little bit, and they're a little bit quick, and they're mean. Like, you know what I think, Jake? If we put Fernando Harris in the UFC, he would have been the UFC champion. I mean, like, you know, it's fucking human specimen and savage, ferocious. Like this dude, 39-inch vertical, natural, benching 440 like it's nothing without even trying. Ran a 4.5 true laser time 40. Would rip people's helmets off. Like he broke the Notre Dame quarterback's arm. He's just a savage. He didn't want to play anymore. Went to the combines, like jog his 40s. Like, I don't want to play anymore. He owns a big business now.
Y'all never heard of the Great Shabazz?
What's that?
No. Wait, you in Arkansas? What's my dude? What's the running back that was Dupree? Isn't that Arkansas?
Yeah.
Or is that Mississippi?
I think it's Arkansas because we had a legend here at one time. Well, we've always had good running backs. You know, we had Felix Jones. We have a man, Darren McFadden, Cedric Cobbs. I played against D'Angelo Williams in high school, and we finally beat them. And it wasn't no damn secret what was fitting to happen because he come out there in the 9th grade. with a full beard, looking like a black.
That's another world, right? I think you get
It
one
was.
D1
I mean, he
player
went
on the
number 2 in
field in high
country to-
school.
but he went to Memphis. You know what I'm saying? Like
You get one D1 player, one true D1 player on the field in high school, it's over. I mean, it's done.
It's
They
all-
just-
If you got a receiver.
Oh no, we had, so my high school team went out and recruited. I went to the little number 2 high school in the country, and they recruited 5 of us. 3 of us went Division 1, and we went to the state finals. Now there was 18 of us on the team, and we lost to Toppenish. They had 120 dudes, and they wore our ass out. They wore us out. All right, let's get into this one. Hey man, the first topic. I appreciate you, Zach and Aaron, coming on here. Aaron Love. I hope the Aaron Love Hate Club loves the Bobby Boucher version. The first one is, let's get your take on the 19-year-old, my man Omar Abagabadaga Muhammad, who tried to do the attack on the Michigan National Guard base, but he was playing with the FBI. So if you guys aren't up to speed, he plotted an attack. They were going to go in there. He was giving his accomplices guns and a bunch of other stuff. Everybody involved was FBI, which is awesome for the good guys. But he was only 19, had been radicalized. Obviously, we know Michigan has got a huge Muslim population up there. And my guy just was going to go one off at the Michigan National Guard base, which is a little weird because it ain't super populated. Well, it's populated, but it's a closed base because it's an armory, it's a training facility.
Tell me they did it on a Wednesday and wasn't nobody there. Like fucking.
Yeah, like he hit it on Sunday. Had the shit planned for Sunday morning at 4:00 in the morning. You know.
Right.
So go ahead. I'll let Aaron start off, man. Aaron, what you got on this? On this jihadist coming over here?
That means
trying
you,
to play
Bobby.
games.
That means
I
you,
know
Bobby.
that's me.
You're Aaron.
You know, I've been dealing with this lately. I don't know if you've been keeping up with the news, but there's a congressman now that's been outed as a radicalized, you know, and I told him put my name on it. I've been working on him for over 2 years, and it took forever to get somebody to listen to me. And this is what I'm seeing from every time it's happened and overseas. It's this guy that doesn't get accepted for whatever reason, and usually a lot of ticks on him, but he can be easily manipulated because they'll pull him in, you know, make him feel like he's important. And I'm sorry, like they do that all the time. And they're very naive. It's very good with kids. Like they just want to be accepted. And then, you know, they're over telling them all the great things and this and that we know is bullshit. But what was his plan? Thing is, it's like with that, like, what is your plan? Like you're dead, like you're gonna die. Ain't nobody living, and these people ain't got no sense. Well, and I'm just giving an example. I hear everybody get on signal, and I'm like, they want you to get on signal. Like they got a back door, like.
They want you on WhatsApp, same thing, Bobby. They want you on WhatsApp, same way.
Everybody say, no, bro, it's encryption. I said, y'all don't know shit about encryptions. You got to load it on both ends. It's got a chance that it don't work. You ain't got it, bro. I was like, and they doing it for free. Doing it for free, too. You know what I mean? Just out of goodness at heart.
Yeah.
I was like, now they conglomerate. But they own these folks pretty hard, man. People don't think they get watched, but they getting watched. Just because you don't see them don't mean shit. Them cell phones or whatever, the way that they do the cell phones is, I tell people, I said, they got vans. And what it is it's a fake sit tower. They park that movie. And you know, you look at your phone, it'll say, man, you might be on the Dallas Tower or whatever. Motherfucking Dallas Tower might be parked down the street. You know what I'm saying? Because it's gonna transmit. But they just snatch it in between. They ain't gotta get you records.
Yeah.
So Bobby, are you aware that we've been recording every phone call in the world, phone call in the world since like 2004?
Yeah, and they got keywords they looking for.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I say, man, why are you gonna hide it? Like, what's the point? Unless you're gonna write a note, you know, fucking.
What they were getting clean on. So one of the other hacks they were using, which was pretty clean, was Google. They were using Gmail, but they just had the same account. They shared an account. They were leaving messages in the draft, and then the messages never got transmitted. So that was another clean way that they were communicating.
So I'll tell you the way I caught them. The way I caught them was, and I was sitting there watching them boys play video games one night, and as many matches as going on in there, be 2 of them in there in a private match.
Yeah, right.
speaking that shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, ain't nobody's monitoring that because I mean, there's all these matches going on and whatnot. They're talking through the video games.
That's wild stuff, man. Yeah, I mean there's so much out there for what what.
I mean, they get creative and shit.
Yeah, tradecraft and all that stuff. But I mean,
pigeons.
Like you guys are saying,
pigeons. They need pigeons.
Like you guys are saying, they really watch. I mean, there's so much being watched. I'm trying to walk the line here and not say too much.
Oh no, hey Ben, I won't walk the line. I'll tell everybody. I won't walk the line. I'll tell everybody. I said this before. We were on live before when I was messing it up. My two dudes that work directly in stopping the bad stuff said if I knew what they stopped on a daily basis, I would pack my family up and move out of the United States immediately. And this is two dudes I've known for 35 years. Like they both said the same thing. Like we stopped so much shit, it makes 24 look like kindergarten. So
the thing is
Zach,
the world has blinders, like, and the rest of us see it, and we never cannot see it again. Everybody else goes about the merry way, and I'm like, y'all don't. I was like, there's a whole other world happening in front of y'all that y'all don't see what's going on. Yeah, and they're ignorant to it. They don't believe it's there. You know,
Bobby, you're still operational, brother, in some ways.
What do you mean?
You said the way you were catching.
Bobby's hunting people.
And I don't give a fuck if you listening, dude. I hope you listen somewhere. I got your ass.
Nice, man.
No, man, I'll put my name on it. I don't run from them people.
Yeah.
I've been working with a friend of mine. He's retired he's not forced, but he was in 1st Marine Recon. He's actually the vice president of Scout Snipers.
Okay, yeah. Good dudes.
Man, the thing is like we couldn't see something and turn our eyes to it.
Yeah.
You know, we went through the proper channels. They weren't trying to hear nothing. So I'm like, all right, we got to get it to the media. Well, the media ain't trying to hear nothing about it because it's a politician. You know, and I'm like, I'm not I don't have a flag, man. I got that one.
Yep.
But
amen.
I'm right and wrong. I'm not a fucking Democrat. I don't know that shit. I don't even care what about your religion is. You can go pray to a fucking cat if it makes you feel good. Just don't attack people.
Some people do.
So what had happened is I knew this guy from the 82nd, and next thing I know, my roommate in the 82nd was working at Dynacorp and was his team leader. He said, man, I went to go vet him one day because when they went to WPPS, that they had to re-vet everybody because they're having too many people slip through the cracks. Well, they want his paperwork. He disappears. This motherfucker walks out the embassy in Iraq and disappears. Like gone. Okay. Next thing I seen, this motherfucker's in Congress. And I'm like, so I get curious. I go to reading his pay. I go to listening to his campaign. Says he was in JSOC, Task Force 20, Tier 1 operator. And I'm like, hell no.
You could prove that pretty
easily. Was an ambulance driver.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, you're serious. He lied that much?
I swear to God.
These fucking people, man, today.
What's his fucking name,
got away
man?
with it for 20 years because
what's his name?
Silenced me.
What's his name? Bobby?
Fuck this motherfucker.
Corey Mills.
That's bullshit, man.
The Blaze just put out an article.
It's crazy.
I can't tell you how many people turned it down because they're like, well, that's a Republican. And I was like, he ain't a Republican. I said, in 24, and man, I got 2 gigs of data. So it took forever for me to get to the agency. It's just, there's tiers, man. It's so hard to get through to anybody. People don't understand that.
Quick question, though. The Blaze, is that a publication?
Yeah. So like it's Glenn Beck.
Is it a gay publication? Sounds gay.
I knew where Ben was going.
Jake, I saw your face. I knew
I
you
knew
knew
where he was going.
It reminds me of like one of those movies. They're like, the Blaze, and you're like, is it gay?
But I'm gonna tell you the most alarming thing was when I pulled his marriage license. He got married in 2014 to an Iraqi girl. That's fine. He got married in that damn.
Did you say he got married to a 14-year-old Iraqi girl?
He got married in 2014. He married an Iraqi girl in that Falls Church, Virginia. Now, y'all know which mosque I'm talking about, the one that's implicated with everything.
Yep.
So he didn't just get married there by the imam. Mind you, he's a Catholic. Yeah. So he didn't just get married by the imam. He got married by the mufti. All right.
What was that? Who's that?
That's the highest ranking sole reader of the Quran in the region. So this was a specialty ordeal.
But he's Catholic?
Well, if you know the rules, that ain't, the woman can be a different but the male can't.
Yeah, right.
So what does that tell you?
Yeah, it tells you that he's not.
Exactly. He converted. But y'all know the rules, they got to do things to fool the infidels. Anyway, he's running on Captain America down there, shit ton of stolen valor. I'm talking about insane amount of stolen valor.
Wow.
It wouldn't have been so bad about stolen valor, but what he did is he took events that of guys that I know died doing them and took
them
for himself.
Yeah.
Wrote his own awards.
Holy
and got a retired
shit.
general fucking push him through HRC.
Wow.
Oh, I caught it though, dog. No, you don't get nothing by me.
Hey Bobby, you need to give that to your boy Nate over at Valhalla, because Nate is like he like a ravenous wolf on that shit.
Yeah,
man.
for sure.
I'll tell you something about
Nate'll make a
I'm gonna
6-part
bring that
series
up.
on it.
I'm
It'll
gonna
go
bring that
viral. and then if it's
Yeah.
wrong, if he's wrong though, I'll be like, oh, sorry. Now the whole world knows.
I'm gonna tell you this right here, and I'm sorry, and I'm friends with him, whatever else. I had went to somebody that is of a higher caliber tier, and he knows said person, and he's like, no, man, like they did that. He had to do that so her husband wouldn't be able to take her when they went to Iraq. And I'm like, he lives in Virginia, always has. I said, here, I'll give you the paper. He's like, I'm like, no, I escorted him over. And I'm like, and then he stopped. And he was like, oh shit. I was like, you ain't the first one. Don't worry, man. Same said guy has an arms company. Well, what he does is he doesn't sell them through the government. They use an intermediary and sell that shit direct through them checks.
Yep.
If you look, he was in Syria the other day on an unofficial visit.
A lot of stuff happening. So what's this? That's disturbing, dude. It's
big time disturbing. The thing that disturbs me more is nobody gives a shit.
Yeah. Well,
so I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna tell you, Bobby, this party line shit is getting kind of crazy right now.
Yeah, man, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
I know I'm being quiet on a lot of shit because I got some shit that's cooking, that's life changing for everybody.
My thing is, dude, everybody's all scared, and I took forever to get all the guys, and Kern had to get all the contractors to come out and talk, bro, because they're scared. They're gonna trump up some charges on them, and I had to get. So there's more. Oh, there's another scandal, bro. Same said general that wrote these awards for him. I reached out to him. Hey, man. He goes, oh, yeah, I gave all my E5s bronze stars. I was like, no, you didn't. Nobody E5 was getting bronze stars in 03. Okay. Especially only doing 2 months in country at the aid station. Well, what it was, I said, man, I got the award here. I said, but we got some issues with it. I said, it says right there at the bottom that the PDF DD Form 638, April 2021. It ain't making no sense to me. You know what I'm saying? See, y'all trying to retro them? Yeah. And I read them off, and what it does is they're so bad, which, Ben, I'm sure you've had to write awards.
Yeah. I'm having nightmares.
They're so strict on, like, they have to start with a certain part, like for meritorious service.
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
This motherfucker here is Hunter S. Thompson wrote. It says that he was sought after by every echelon of the JSOC community.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, that's what they do, bro. They go after the fucking goddamn aid station medic, fucking ambulance driver every time. That's how they recruit.
Bobby,
yeah, no, you're right. But this connects back to Bobby's original thing, saying it's usually someone disanfranchised, is vulnerable, doesn't feel good about themselves. So they feel not confident, not good about themselves. I remember watching this thing long time ago, reading this thing. I was writing a paper on Hezbollah a long time ago. And, the opening scene in the book is about how the suicide bomber goes and blows the hell out of himself, kills a bunch of people. And then they rewind and they look at the family, look at where he came from, all stuff like that. He's a total loser. And the leadership goes to him, right? Of the faith there. And they go to him and they're like, look, brother, you can really make yourself something and be like a total hero. And we offer a, death benefit to your family for the rest of their lives. Your family's taken care of, and you're going to die as a
Yeah,
hero.
this is a huge thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Zach. Go ahead. If you know something.
Oh no, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Yeah, that's one of the incentives is over in Lebanon. If you're a suicide bomber, they basically have the same way we have military benefits. If you were to tragically die in combat, or you get that life insurance, they have the same setup for their guys of, hey, we'll take care of you, your family, your kids, whatever, if you go execute this mission. I thought I read this before, going back to the National Guard incident recently where he tried to attack it. He was actually a member of the National Guard. So he got kicked out. Yeah. So, there's so many avenues I want to go down that I find so interesting and complicated, but it's super frustrating for somebody like, and this is maybe a little anecdotal or personal, but it's irritating for me to see that someone like this guy can be a member of the armed services or the military or whatever. And then someone like myself, I'll never forget, not to jump into a sob story, I was in the mill, guard, graduated from college. I was basically and this is a story I'm sure you guys have heard before, applied for the Bureau. I wanted to go to HRT, went through the hoops, went through my interviews, got accepted, got the call, hey, conditional offer, you're in, congratulations, you crushed the PT test. The next day, HRT called me, and they're like, hey, dude, we see that you're an SF-18 Delta. We're dying for medics over at HRT. We want to fast track you over. You'll do 2 years as a special agent, and then you can come on over. I got to do my polygraph. I already passed 1 or 2 polygraphs when I got there, one with the LAPD and another with another agency. And so I was like, I'm good to go. And the woman, I super clean background. I unlike a lot of guys in South, never been arrested.
What is that supposed to mean? What the fuck is that?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. No bar fights.
Listen,
I stay
Zach
clean.
and Ben Pappas are the only 2 people in the world that can say that. If I went to a polygraph right now, them motherfuckers, the machine would fucking blow up.
Hey, let me tell you, Zach, pause your story real quick. Dude, I'm going in for a poly. I'm going in for one of the agencies here in the enterprise, right? And I'm sitting down, get done the first phase of things. So all of a sudden, this woman comes in. She goes, "Okay, so it's me and one other dude." Yeah. And she goes, "Okay, so now it's time for the polygraph." This motherfucker started sweating. He's like, "What do you mean a polygraph? What polygraph?"
Yeah,
I didn't know we had to take a polygraph. And I looked at him. I was like, "What? How did you not think you'd take a freaking polygraph?" Yeah. And he literally was like itching himself and melting right in place. Yeah. And she looked at him like, "Oh shit!" Of course, he bounced. He failed. And I don't know. I don't think anything followed him afterwards. I don't know. But
I've heard even worse than that. I've heard guys that would go in to do a polygraph, knowing they can't pass it. And then they asked, "Have you ever committed a crime?" And in his mind, he's like, "Well, if I tell them I did some murder, they'll know I'm down, and then they're gonna want me." And right there, they're like, "Hold that motherfucker here." We're fucking calling the law.
Or the guy looks at you.
Hey, wait a minute now. Wait a minute now. Hang on. Let's bring this one up because I know Ben knows this story. Babe at the Naval Academy playing Truth or Dare with her roommates confesses to murdering a girl in Colorado.
Wait, who is
what?
Oh, I remember.
You ain't heard this, Ben?
No, I remember this when we were there.
Yes, Naval Academy. They're playing Truth or Dare.
I remember
with her roommates.
Yes, and with the boyfriend. She did it with the boyfriend, right?
Yes. So, what's the worst thing you've ever done? Oh man, when I was in high school, we killed this girl. What? No way. No way. Oh yeah, we killed her. Boom. The 2 roommates go to the company office and say, "Hey man, this bird told us she killed somebody." They call the FBI. No bullshit. A girl in her high school got murdered.
Yeah.
And so they came in, and it was a wrap, man. She in prison still, man. She got 25 years.
Guess what they killed her for? It was the boyfriend's ex-girlfriend. And it was jealousy, crazy shit. And she was like, "If you love me, you'll do this with me." And she came out of the back.
Did she win the game?
Terrible. But real quick,
she won a game of life, motherfucker. She run that Truth or Dare shit.
That's
Dumbass
insane.
motherfuckers.
Insane.
Deny, make counter accusations. Let me tell you something.
Insane.
I'm training my
Okay,
kids
go ahead.
right
Zach,
now,
sorry,
man.
pause your story.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
it's all good.
This is how it goes on here, you know? I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
man,
fine.
go
This
ahead.
is life. It's fine. No worries. So I get in there, and basically, before you even start the polygraph, she's like, "Hey, real quick questions. They're no brainers. Yes or no questions. And if you fail this, we're just not even going to bother with poly." One of the questions was, "Have you ever distributed illegal substances, narcotics, whatever?" And I said, "Yeah, one time, my friend didn't have money to buy like a $20 bag of weed. So I basically lent him the money. So I bought it." She's like, "Okay, that's stupid." And then I was like, and then when I was 15, I got my wisdom teeth removed and they gave me Percocet and it made me really sick. And this kid that I was friends with in high school overheard me saying that and just said, "Hey, if you don't want your Percocet, can I just have it?" And I was like, "Sure." And I gave it to him. It was such an innocent thing that I literally went to my parents and I told them what I had done. And my parents were like, "You cannot, like, no, you can't. That's not okay. You can't do that." After I told the woman about the Percocet, she very awkwardly was like, "Okay, pause. I need you to step out of the office." And I was like, "Okay." I didn't think anything of it. Walk out. She called me back in. She said, "At this moment, unfortunately, you've been disqualified from the hiring process. I need you to write down everything you just told me and exit from the building immediately." And I was just like, what's happening right now?
Yeah,
and she's like, "You distributed." Anyways, I was able to back channel some stuff. But here you got a guy, and I'm going to bring this back around to what's going on. Here you got this guy, right? Like, look how good looking I am. Period. She's hiring me. But
Hey, Zach. Listen, let me tell you something. You cannot come on this channel and talk about how fucking good looking you are when fucking Superman is on this channel. I'm just telling you, man.
That's true. That's fair.
There are
That's fair.
80 middle-aged women
King
in the
over in the
chat
corner.
right now that are
Freaking
telling
out.
Zach, Ben Pappas got you
because
beat
Bobby's
10
on
times
here.
He
over.
does.
Bobby.
No,
He's talking
I
about
admit
Bobby.
he's better
I
looking.
got a
He's better
whole
looking.
different level of women
What?
being fighting over. Like, it's a,
Here you got a guy who immediately became a special forces medic, combat deployment, a bunch of schools, whatever, who cares? I'm not Tim Kennedy. Graduated from Columbia University, top of his class.
50 grenades in his backpack.
50 grenades, maybe 60.
Maybe 60.
Like here you got a guy who is you're desperate for people. You're desperate for people who can do a very unique, specific job. And because of some incident that, and it literally,
JV.
I was when I think at the time I was like 30 years old, and this had happened when I was 15. And literally in that gap from that 15-year period, I kid you not, I'd never touched drugs, right? Like I smoked weed a couple times in high school, but it wasn't my thing. So I didn't do it anymore. And the Bureau's like, "You're not for us, sorry." But then you've got the Army, you've got the Guard, who is just like, "What's your background? No one cares. We're not going to even look into this."
Right.
And we're going to look the other way because, there may or may not be red flags for whatever reason. In fact, we are looking for individuals just like you.
Right. As he has his ISIS flag with him as he's signing up, they're like, "That's perfect. Fucking who cares? Come on."
That's fine.
Yeah,
like, we're not going to look at your
He's got the
social
bandana,
media.
you got the headband.
what you got to do?
We're going to send you to basic training. We're going to teach you basic sort of infantry. Obviously not everybody's infantryman. He wasn't, but we're going to teach you soldiering skills. And moreover, we're going to give you access to a military DoD compound where you can gather intelligence.
Right.
So that's one sort of way I sort of went when I saw this. The other thing too that came to mind, and I'm so curious to see how you feel about this. There's this bizarre thing in the United States, and I kind of know where it comes from, but I also don't know where it comes from, where we think because the wars in the Middle East are over in the Levant, that the threat is now gone. And by the way, I've worked for other organizations and other agencies, and it has
place about it.
And they're in the same way. They're like, "Hey, we've been doing counterterrorism for 20 years now. Let's just, you know what? We're going to move on." And that we have a baseline assumption that really the threat is a near peer enemy. And I'm standing there like, guys, like the threat from, the radical Islamist threat, whatever you want to call it, I think that's an accurate way of titling it, if you will. It's not gone away. It's real.
It's not
It's
ideology.
present.
Yeah. You know,
It's-
man, and I loved President Trump's speech in Saudi Arabia. He was like, I loved how he was hard on it, but he was unifying at the same time. And he said, look, he's like, you guys have to kick these jerks out of your mosques. You guys have to
but
get
he's
rid
got
of these
that
damn
motherfucker
people.
from Syria over there, right, man? Oh, I hate that motherfucker.
Wait, hold on.
man.
I got one more thing too. The other thing that
I gotta walk.
go ahead, walk.
he's
hot.
He's
hot.
He's like, I can't take it.
God, you've got to study, not to double down on my podcast. You've got to study the history in order to understand what is going on today, what's going on 10 years ago. We handed them a huge victory. If you look at propaganda that is being put out from the Taliban, from AQI, when they took Afghanistan, that was it's the same thing that happens in the wake when they defeated the Russians, when the Russians left Afghanistan. That to them, they can now go to young men all over the world and at home, obviously, and say, hey guys, the Russians couldn't beat us. The Americans, the strongest military in the world, guess what? They're done. Like they left because they were afraid of us. That's why they left.
Yeah.
Right. And that's there, like obviously in the States and everywhere else around the world, like we know what actually happened, right? And that's a whole other topic of conversation.
Black pajamas flying. That's what was happening.
Yeah, but to them, this was the perfect moment where they could start to recruit more. Because look at all the weapons they left behind. You think if they wanted to leave, they would have left this all behind? No, we beat them. We defeated them. We won. This was our victory. It took us 20 years, but we did it to the Russians. We've done it to the Americans, and we're going to keep pressing on. And so I keep going down this rabbit hole of like, what's the next target? What's the next target? And I think a lot of Americans now have the mindset of that era is over. We're all moving on with our lives.
No.
And it's very, very much not moving over. The last
Hang
thing
on,
I'll say
Zach.
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, here's your last point. And I'm gonna ask you a question.
Yeah, please. So last point is, I think the most frightening thing to me ever was when I was going to school in New York City, I took the subway every single day.
Yeah.
There's no security. It would not take a sophisticated cell to execute an attack, a coordinated attack on the subway system in New York City. And every day that crossed my mind of like, this is the easiest target. You could shut down New York City in a heartbeat and cause all kinds of not only violence and bodily harm, but economic harm. You could literally shut down because you rely on that subway system. Everybody does to get around, to go to work, to keep the lights on. And you could easily do a coordinated attack around the city, and you could shut down New York like that for a week, if not longer. Anyways, that's my last point. What's your question?
All right, Zach, you got a lot of corporate knowledge. Here's my deal, right? So Osama bin Laden's son is running Al Qaeda right now, and he went from a generational war to my lifetime. In my lifetime, we will see the Salafate, right?
Yeah.
You said something about dates, and I thought May 2nd was a big day, right? May 2nd came and passed. You guys aren't familiar. There's a Sarah open source former CIA targeter.
I can't stand her ass.
Okay, you can't stand her, but she's talking about 20 or 1,500 fucking people already in the States. We already know the sales rate, okay? What dates in your mind stand out on the calendar? Do you have any dates that you're like, ooh, I'm not like May 2nd, we stayed in the house, right? Like I just said, all right, we're not going to do some stuff.
I mean, it's hard to say simply because their historical knowledge is so vast and so deep that they could take any date and spin it to what they need. So, for example, one of the things that bin Laden talked about that we've completely forgotten about in, I believe, I can't remember how many videos he put out. I think it was the first or second video he put out after 9/11. But he was talking about the need to recapture Al-Andalus. And 99% of Americans, understandably, right over their head, they're like, Al-Andalus, what? Like, what is this guy talking about? Well, the Caliphate controlled the Iberian Peninsula, which is now Spain and Portugal. And in their minds, their goal ultimately is to reestablish the caliphate that existed for 800 plus years.
So
And
Spain was
Al-Andalus,
kicking their ass out of there.
Well, so let me ask you going right off of that.
yeah,
And this is, you know, it's not really controversial, but it could be construed as a certain way. Do you think right now what's going on in Europe is a fifth column for that to happen?
I think to ignore what's going on in Europe is a huge undersight, and to not acknowledge at least that there is an issue. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm talking to
Yeah.
you guys, so this is
Yeah.
obvious.
You're talking
And I
to the
think
world.
yeah, it's true. I forgot. I think Europeans are waking up to it, particularly those who are. I don't want to say on the front lines because that makes it sound super dramatic. But
Yeah.
if you're living in a neighborhood in the UK and you've seen this dramatic shift
Sharia law,
in
Sharia courts.
culture, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, in culture and all kinds of things, there is a backlash that is happening.
Mhm.
I think there will, as it progressively gets worse and worse, which I have to imagine it will. I think there will continue to be more pushback against that stuff.
And-
Where it goes from here, look, I won't even pretend to speculate because I have no idea. I think, frankly, I think what's going to end up happening is you're going to have more conservative European countries that are more religious in nature, more orthodoxy, who are going to be far more aggressive against this stuff. And the more liberal, the more decadent parts of Europe that feel like nothing could ever go wrong. We have this sense of control and security. Those are the countries. It's kind of like Rome,
Well,
right?
if you look too, I mean, like you're saying, like Rome, like falling to the Visigoths, the Goths, all those things like that.
Correct. Yeah,
Constant
precisely.
foreign invaders. But I think, you know, if you look who won the most elections, who overturned districts in Germany, the neo-Nazi far right, extremist far right. Then who, you know, also in the fascists are marching again in Italy. I mean,
Yeah.
so the greatest threat, if you look at geopolitics, Germany is always every 100 years or so looking for a good war, and it's usually triggered by fear of foreign invaders. It's usually the Slavic threat to the east from Russia.
Yeah.
Russia's firing up, and now, you know, foreign threat from within. So, I mean, what you're seeing is a hard swing right in a lot of, you know, but like it's different than like in our own country. We still have a democratic process. When they go right hard. You know,
Yeah.
Germany, Italy, all these places. I mean, it's a different story. So this is such a powder keg on so many levels. So many factors are coming into play. And many people today will say, World War III has already started. It's already started. We're in it right now, you know?
Go ahead, Bobby. Go ahead.
Man, so this is something that I'm like, I've been studying on these assholes forever and a day. And I try to put some logic to it, a lot of things, you know, because you read and then you talk to folks that's been on the ground and, you know, whatever. But I'll tell you what I've seen, and I'm watching it in Texas in a place you never would think you would see. And I tell people, I said, pick up your phone, go to your maps, hit mosque nearby, Dallas, 100 of them. Why? Tax-free, okay? They got their own financing. They say it out loud what they're doing. They're battling it down right now. They're trying to build a 1,000-acre Sharia law-only community. Now, they get all the subsidized as tax-free, da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, they're 501c3.
Okay, they'll go through ideology. Also, the problem I don't like is like when you got Falls Church, Virginia, Aurora, Colorado, you got Dearborn, Michigan, Minneapolis. You put them on all these areas because everybody's like, "Well, we don't want." I said, "Yeah, but then you let them elect a leader. You put them in Congress through the electoral policy, you know, and that's a problem. You know what I'm saying? And if you do that a few times, they can take over smaller towns. Mayors, stuff like that." I saw it the first because I was watching the census is what I wanted to see. And in 2020, I want to see the census there versus today. And I wanted to see the Chinese in California is what I want to see. The Chinese in San Francisco went from a 21% majority to a 47 and elected the very first non-documented immigrant to head of the elections officials over there. And I'm like, the fuck are we doing? But I already knew about the canals. And I was screaming that, and everybody's looking at me, I'm stupid. And I said, well, they're going to either do that or they're going to cut across Nicaragua, which they'd already been trying to do. In November, they re-upped that deal, which people don't understand Gaza. And I was like, it's because they want to cut the Ben Gurion Canal. They don't want to have to be blocked out of the Suez. You know, like it's all about the trade routes, and that's why India matters so much, and Thailand, because you got the Strait
Yeah.
of Malacca, the Malaccan Strait down there. You can lock China's ass completely out. Same with Pakistan and India too. Is the new pipeline that's coming down the middle corridor? It was the TAPI, the TAPI, the one that fucking they started forever ago. Well, it's going through Afghanistan right now. China imports 80% of its energy, so like they don't make enough natural gas. Like they still have to buy from us to this day, but they were going to hub off that bitch.
I got a question for you guys.
Sure.
One of the things that I often think about, and I don't know what the answer is one of the beautiful parts about being an American living in the United States is obviously all the freedoms we have, right? You can practice whatever religion you want to practice.
You don't get caught with that seatbelt off.
Yeah. Don't, you got to wear your seatbelt though. What do you do in a situation where, and put Islamism aside, or radical Islam, whatever you want to call it, aside for a second? I mean, there are other, I would say, problematic religions in so much as people take an idea, or I mean, you can easily look at Christianity. People have radicalized that throughout history.
Left to horror. Is that the name of it?
There's now in the United States there's paganism, like that's like witchcraft is a religion which people have taken and gone in all kind of weird directions with that are dubious and problematic. But as a country, as a nation, how do we grapple with providing people the freedom and the flexibility and then to practice their religion and do whatever that may be, while simultaneously not monitoring because that sounds like deep state shit, but watching out for groups that claim to be under a religious sort of title that are up to no good. So like, where's the balance here? Like, how do we deal with this situation?
I mean, I'll just jump in
Go
real
ahead,
quick.
man.
I mean, I think first of all, it's just rule of law. Rule of law, first of all, making sure that we got the right laws, right? And then also legal immigration, right? That's what we're working on right now, because we have to have a process. It has to mean something to be an American citizen. It has to mean something. You went through a process, you're assimilating, you're trying to be a part of this country. I mean, I think if you're putting down this country and you're a part of some type of plot, or you're supporting some terrorist organization that wants to put our country, take our country away and destroy our country or hurt our citizens, then you shouldn't be here. It's the bottom line. So, I mean, here's the thing. People say, my freedom, my rights. I'm going to tell you fucking something. We tell you how you can be happy. That's what laws are. It's not free for all anarchy. I can be happy, whatever makes me happy. It's, freedom and the pursuit of happiness. If I want to kill everybody, I can. Nope. We tell you exactly what your freedoms are and how you can be happy. It's not total freedom. It's a social contract that's been made for centuries now. Lockean theory and political philosophy, right? We have a social contract that if you want safety, security, and all these things like that, it's also in the Federalist Papers as well too. That you don't want to have the rule of the strong only, because when people are young and they're in mobs, they're strong. So you need to have the social contract. You need to have laws in place that have a stable society. When we have a stable society, everyone's oars are pulling the same direction. That's when the arts flourish, technology flourishes, finance flourishes, all these things, and everybody grows together. But as soon as somebody decides, I'm going to color out of the friggin' lines, and where our lines are really wide, you can be happy in so many ways here. You know what? And if you're not happy and you want to break the laws, you want to fuck around, find out. I agree with that. Get the fuck out. Get out of
Ben,
here.
I have a question.
What do you do? Follow up to yours, Zach.
Oh, go ahead, Jake.
Go ahead, Bobby, and then I'm gonna follow up to Zach's question, because I got something real simple.
But I like what Ben's saying, and this is the thing. It's like, man, you can do whatever the fuck you want religiously or whatever until you impose it on others. The other bad part about it is like people think these rights and this and that shit, and they talk like medical is a human right. I'm like, no, the fuck it ain't. It's on your ass if you fat. Don't eat so goddamn much. I'm sorry, motherfucker. Don't.
I know. No, it's crazy. It's crazy. The whole healthcare system is wild. Having worked in it,
but people believe that these things are to be given to them, and I'm like, no, fuck you. And then also, I was like, all through time, why we spend so much on our military and whatnot, I was like, it's because if you got something and a motherfucker wants it and you can't stop them, they gonna take it.
Amen.
And that's
amen.
And you know what? the world don't always need fucking heroes. Sometimes they need some monsters, and they send monsters to go do shit. I hate to say it that way.
Hey,
But
here it is
I'm going
supporting
in that
that.
motherfucker with nasty
Thucydides.
intentions.
Let's go back to the Peloponnesian War, or Thucydides, as they call it in Greek, right? The strong do what they can, the weak suffer what they must.
Yes.
That's it.
You think
You know,
them
I mean,
goddamn
that's
Indians was fucking hanging out being cool together? Shit, no. They was taken from the others. Give me your pills.
right.
Give me that smoke.
Real quick, let me answer Zach's question from my perspective. I'm going
I'm
to tell
sorry.
you this. You know the difference between us and most of the world? In the United States, there's a lot of opportunity. And I think in the last 10 years, that opportunity has dwindled. You, as an 18-year-old man, you can't just go out into the workforce and make enough money to have a good life. Okay. I have told everybody the reason that you got some hardline Muslim countries out there, Afghanistan, right? Iran, the whole Middle East, they have no opportunity. You're 18 years old in, Afghanistan, you got the ability maybe to feed yourself and somebody else. But normally you're staying in the family, you don't have the same opportunity. I think, and we see the downfall of cultures and countries and establishments happens when the gap between the upper class and the middle class or the lower class gets to the point where the lower class can't survive.
Yeah.
And we are getting closer to that now than we ever have been.
I never
right?
thought
Like
you need $100,000 to live like a normal person for a year. Like that's not.
Well, I'll tell you what, man.
Okay,
After what happened to the price of food over the last
you
4 years
go. I
before,
tell everybody, I'm in San Antonio. Cats are selling their house in LA for $2 million, moving here, buying a $500,000 house, and still having 1.5 million. Tell me, how is California still alive? Right? Like how are people still living in California? At
Because you go over
some
there and they'll
point,
have 11 motherfucking people in one house.
yeah.
I done seen it. You can't even park down the street.
I mean, you know, I'm in Cali a lot, out in California a lot.
yeah.
I think, I mean,
It's where I met my
lifestyle-
wife.
Yeah, lifestyle,
I lived there.
economy, all kinds of stuff like
Francisco?
that. But I mean, I think what
LA.
you're saying, Jake. I mean, in San Antonio and Texas, Dallas, Florida, there's so much you better living overall for your money. But I think California has a lot of opportunity as far as jobs and things like that, and industry, a certain lifestyle. But it's so expensive now. Living is so expensive. You can still find places if you're not looking to get on the coast. You can still find some decent places there. But it's like it's like a whole different world there, man.
So
I know live in campers right now because they refuse to pay high rent.
Yeah,
There are people that are homeless doing that.
This is a great example, kind of to the point you were making. So it's kind of a long story short, but I ended up like a lot of guys not knowing what the hell I was supposed to do when I got out of the mill, got off the job, and long story short, a real estate broker in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, who's a kind of a family friend, offered me a job. I took it. My wife and I moved to Jackson Hole. I don't know if you guys know anything about Jackson Hole.
Man. It's nice.
It's a nice spot. A starter home. Stand by. And I don't mean a starter home like the thing was built 5 years ago and is 2,000 square feet. If you want to buy a lot in town with a house that needs about $500,000 to $1 million worth of work, just the lot with the structure that was built in the 70s or 80s, $2 million.
Woo.
I basically was able to get a condo. You ready for this? A condo that was built in 1994 and hadn't really had much worked on it. 750 square feet, $750,000.
Wow. Yeah. That's
Anyway,
that's like California, like LA.
Yeah,
not everyone in LA, but like more of the
it's very
coast
California.
areas. Yeah.
Yeah. But to the point, I mean, what I saw there, and this is like a whole other discussion. There's a ton of government regulation there because although Wyoming is a very red state, Jackson Hole is very, very blue. And basically what you have 92% of the land in that area is owned by the federal government that you can never develop. The other percentiles, basically there's only
Yellowstone. We know what the fuck.
Yeah, exactly. Long story short, the demand is here and the supply is down here. and only so we moved, so we left, so we moved to Tennessee, and my God, like it is so much more affordable, and just the local government here is very conservative, and they're just like, yeah, go build, and so the supply is going up, and yeah, there's a ton of demand, and you talk to the locals here, and they're obviously frustrated because they're like, ever since
They're
COVID,
overbuilding.
but their overbuilding is a huge thing.
Yeah.
But and I don't want to get into it, but one of the things I say is like, yeah, I get it. It's frustrating. They're overbuilding, but if they don't continue to build that $800,000 house down the street, that's going to be a $4 million house like that, because just supply and demand.
Yeah.
So anyways, I don't,
there's a lot of opportunity in Florida. I don't even know what we're talking about right now. I'm losing the plot, but there's a lot of opportunity in Florida.
Bro.
You were talking about opportunity, and you felt like there was part of the reason why a lot of guys are attracted to this ideology is because they have no financial opportunities. They can't survive. They want community. They want to connect with something. And in the age, I think, not to go off of what you're saying to riff, but unfortunately, I think in the age of technology, where we feel like we have connections with people that we don't it's not real. And now now you've got AI, right? You're talking to a bot. You're not even talking to a human.
Motherfuckers are lazy.
You got to go out. And so Jake, what would you tell young men?
Being quiet, man. I need you to do something over there.
Who, me?
Yeah.
I'm hosting this motherfucker.
Bobby, you're Jake. You're playing Jake's role right now.
Shit.
I'm Jay and Nate at the same time, and he's.
So I got 3 boys. Okay, I got 13-year-old, 11-year-old, and 9-year-old. Okay?
So what do you do? How do you get them out? Like push them out the door, go socialize.
Sports. I'm gonna tell you this right now, bro. I grew up with a savage for a dad. Okay.
Yeah.
And I can think back to some fucking Washington State, Tacoma, Washington, right there, South Fort Lewis, rainstorms going on. Okay. It's December, dark. It is dark. Get home from school. Hey, man, put your boots and your slicker on, go outside and play.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what? And like, I just remember I hated that motherfucker, man. I hated him, man. Like, go outside and play. So now, go outside and play. And I ripped my 9-year-old got his head ripped off last weekend for making me tell him twice. Okay. And today we were on a field trip. He did some dumb shit. Well, he didn't do some dumb shit. He did some shit that I would allow him to do if we weren't on a field trip. Okay. Yeah. But the teacher has said, don't do that. And I told him to stop, and he didn't stop. And I looked at it, and that motherfucker immediately made course corrections. Okay.
Yeah. His dad looked at him. That's why.
Just remember, though, he is your kid, man. He's gonna be a little bit of a rebel. I mean, he's gonna
listen. That 9-year-old is me. Okay. If we went to Buc-ee's. I don't know if y'all familiar with Buc-ee's, but we got these biggest gas station in the history of mankind. It is a fucking amusement park. Okay.
Yeah.
So we never been in Buc-ee's. My best friend was like, "You got to go to Buc-ee's." So we went to Buc-ee's on Tuesday. They walked in that motherfucker. My 11-year-old was like, "Oh my gosh, this place is off." My 9-year-old, this place sucks. I'm ready to go. Don't want nothing here, right? But
that's
he's me. I'm always the opposite dude, right? I'm the opposite dude. So my point is, though, they will all go up and introduce themselves to whoever, because they're gonna hear it. Go introduce yourself. The 13-year-old, like that dude, will put in work socially. Like he got no problem walking up to the 24-year-old cute girl.
He's got the game, like you were saying. He is the game.
Yeah.
But he'll dominate that generation, I'm telling you.
But dog, they all dominate, right? Like, so my little man, and you're asking, Zach, and I'm just telling you a couple of things that happened this week. So he had to do a presentation on a parent, right? So I happen to have one of those backgrounds that kind of is cool. So we shot an interview in here. I'm going to post it up. It was pretty cool. So this motherfucker got into Google Slides and did animation, and he found some website that had all of the seal pin parts cut out. So he zoomed in, like flew in all of the SEAL team parts. Yeah. Okay, to make the trident. Right. It was pretty fucking cool. I was like, God damn. And I didn't even, I came home, my wife was like, yo, you ain't believe this shit he just figured out. So, it's your kid, and I'm one of those dudes that, like, I'm not going to be the dad to be like, hey, man, my son's fucking killing it. Because you don't know. Like, I'm playing fucking 25-year game. I'm not playing 9-year-old game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the teacher today said, hey, man, listen, I just want to tell you, man, that presentation your son gave was incredible. And I was like, really? I said, well, you know how teachers are. They're going to gas you up a little bit. So I said, what was it? She said, man, he had all the parts fly in, and it made his presentation so visual. It was just so awesome. And then
It was engaging.
he goes, she goes, he interviewed you, and that interview was incredible. And I was just like, okay, he hit it, right? Like, he hit it. But like, people ask me, and I'm not gonna say, like, I know what they're gonna tell you. Where you going to college? Harvard, Yale, Stanford, West Point, right? Okay, give me the big five. Be a leader, be a superstar, be a zwig. Care for your people and have fun. Okay, they're gonna give you the mantras of the family. All right. But like, I talked to Ben because Ben got 2 older kids. Like, I'm not putting my foot down that these motherfuckers are doing great until we see where they're at 25, right? Like, I'm not judging them 9-year-old right now on 9-year-old stuff, but I push them a lot socially. Like, we go through the grocery store, whatever. I tell them all, hey man, find an opportunity to help somebody in the grocery store, right? Like be a good person. So
yeah.
I think say something about the schooling and the things he's saying, because man, I went through it, and it was man, when they see me come to the school, like, you see people close their doors and shit. You know what I mean? Because I ain't coming to be cool. Anyway, I have two awesome daughters. One's 20, one's 13. All right. 13-year-olds ranked 5th in the country in fucking 2-on-2 volleyball, but she has to play in the 16-year-old league. She's a beast.
Wow.
All right. She was in public schools, and they were going to tell me that she was close to being, what's that shit? Remedial.
Yeah.
She was feeling so bad.
Slow.
I was like, she's bored. She's bored. Bored and motherfucker. She's over looking out the window and shit. She speaks 3 languages, but I got the way they're assessing them, and nowadays, used to, if a motherfucker was stupid, you got to catch up. Well, nowadays they figured, man, instead of doing that, it's easier to bring us down to the stupid man. But I got her ass out of there, and then like this science and engineering school or whatever, straight flourishing. 12 years old, walking around self-taught German.
Yeah, I mean, environment matters. Environment matters a lot. Yeah,
Yep.
That's like
like kids will learn if it is something they want to learn. It's just like me and you.
100%. Yeah.
And the world needs other people. We all can't be rocket scientists. We all can't be on computers and shit. The world takes all kinds. Just like me. Fucking, I knew it wasn't in my damn hopes to go to no college, because I'm gonna be over staring out the window wasting somebody's money. Didn't want to be there.
Jake, I think you brought up the point, the most important point. And I think, and I'm hoping, I feel like I'm seeing it starting to grow. And I think it's something that's being promoted more and more and more. And it's something that I didn't see 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I think the importance of having a father figure that is present and invested in their kids' lives, especially when it comes to young men, is absolutely critical. And I don't remember anybody talking about this 10, 15 years ago. And all of a sudden I see more and more.
Zach, I'm going to stop you right there. Them motherfuckers have been talking about this for 40 years in the Black community.
Yeah.
There ain't been no black men in the Black community since the mid 80s. Okay.
Tell them what Jake, and I've heard it. That is a whole fascinating and valid conversation.
Yeah.
And study. But someone like you, what's that experience like been for you? What is your feeling on that? Knowing that history, knowing the importance of being a dad. Like, obviously you have the background that you have. Like, what's your insight?
I'm gonna give you 2 takes. Okay.
Yeah.
So an African American boy is 90% likely to go to college if his dad has a college degree.
Yeah.
So 1, there's a dad involved, and 2, the dad has a college degree. Okay. So let that stat, like, if you ain't got a dad, so the African American community is the lowest in America at 7% of relationships having a dad. Think about that.
Wow.
Like, it's the lowest.
We talked about somebody last week too, like,
we did a little
pro
bit.
Baseball player, stuff like that. Or I'm sorry, one last quick crack.
Go ahead.
Or if your dad was the head of Al Qaeda, you're more likely to become the head of Al Qaeda. Sorry.
Yep. Okay.
Good
So this is what I'm gonna say, Zach. I had a fucking savage stepfather. Okay.
Yeah.
4 years in prison, murdered his first wife. I didn't realize that I caught him in his early 40s. Like I got there in his early 40s. And
Yeah.
my sister has told me some of the horror stories, like him knocking his fucking wife out every weekend, him going to jail every weekend. Right. I just saw him. I saw him. I witnessed him almost murder 2 different sets of people with a shovel. Like 32 teeth in the street in front of my house.
So how did you make it out of that situation? What was there another mentor figure? Like how did you watch that stuff?
What Jake's not telling you is that then he did see his dad kill people too.
Like here's the deal, Ben. Like Ben knows me.
Yeah.
I was feral at the Naval Academy.
Oh, well, fuck
Okay.
you.
I'm just really fucking smart. Okay. But I was feral. For the first 3 years of the Naval Academy, I didn't cut my hair. I didn't cut my hair for the first 2 years of the Naval Academy. Did not cut my hair.
He had his hair coming out of the top of his helmet.
Yep.
And I tell you, Jake and I had like some kind of mind melt. You know, we're different, but at the same time, we both get into fights with people and all this stuff. And he always called me Crazy Pap. So, all right, Crazy Pap, it's you and me together. And he was a class ahead of me, so he was someone I could connect with right away because a very similar energy. But yeah, he was hair coming out the top of the helmet. He's savage, man. Oh yeah.
But here's my point, Zach. It caused me so many problems, man, in the SEAL team. Because, dog, I'm in the SEAL teams. I'm a fucking officer from the Naval Academy, and I'm knocking motherfuckers out.
Yep.
Like, I'm not, you call me the N-word, I'm knocking you the fuck out.
Yeah.
Fucking you up, okay? So here's my point, though, Zach. When I had a kid, my first kid, I was 40. I started raising that motherfucker like Bob Donham was raising me. And I got lucky because I got to a dude and I didn't like spanking my son. Okay.
Yeah.
He was like 18 months old, right about 2 years old. And I got to go to a guy that literally has produced 4 of probably America's top kids. Okay. And if I told you who he was, you'd be like, oh yeah. Okay. And I talked to him, and the first question I asked him, one, will you mentor me? Being, I need a real father, like mentor, because obviously my dad raised a fucking savage, and I'm trying to raise my kids to be better than me. Yeah. So first thing he says, we don't spank our kids. So we haven't spanked the kids since then, right? Now I will say this: he has 2. He's a Rhodes Scholar, and his wife is a Rhodes Scholar. Wow. They have a very cerebral family. I have spanked my youngest kid because sometimes that motherfucker don't understand anything but.
Spare the rod, spoil the child, man. There you go.
I will tell you this, Zach. I go to Al-Anon. So I don't know if you know AA. You know AA? So the family group of Al-Anon. Okay. So I go to the family group of Al-Anon, and it allows me to have patience where I would have used violence like a motherfucker. Okay. And what it has done is it allowed my wife, who's a valedictorian rock star, to impress upon the kids like the right way, the wrong way. So like now we're pretty much like, hey man, you didn't make the family proud. And 2 of my kids will crush. It'll crush.
They'll respond to that. Yeah.
It will crush them. And so, but like I'm gonna tell you right now, the oldest one is 7th grade. I'm gonna tell you, this is a great story for you to hear because I think everybody online will be able to relate with this. I was in 7th grade. Remember it like a fucking yesterday. My dad would tell me to do something. I'd be like, I'm gonna make a little face, right? And my dad's a fucking savage. And so he was like, I fucking told you. You make another face, I'm gonna fucking stab you. Okay? So I was at the table, I was fucking around, and I was reaching across the table to get the butter. And he said, hey man, can you go do something for me? And I looked at it, made a little face. Wham! Stuck the fork right in my hand. Wham! It didn't go all the way through my hand, but it was bleeding.
Pierced.
I snatched my hand back, and I remember after that, if I was gonna make a face, I'll be like. And so, like, I got into the 7th grade. My dad said you gotta have a 3.0. Okay, in our family, it's you got to do the best. My wife was valedictorian. You got to do your best, right?
Yeah.
So my oldest son right now is in 7th grade. He's in 3 high school classes, and he's doing shit. Okay, it's partly my fault. It's really my fault because I didn't understand he was in high school classes in the 7th fucking grade. Okay, But in the 7th grade, I was in the exact same place he was. And I came home with like a 2.6. And my dad walked right up to the middle school and snatched me out of basketball practice, like in the middle of practice. And then motherfucked me the whole. We only lived like 400 yards from the school. He had walked up there and motherfucked me the whole way home. You
This is
are
your step.
fucking
This
not
is your
ever playing.
stepdad.
Yeah, my stepdad. You're not ever fucking playing sports again until you get a 3.0. Right? Now,
Yeah.
it only took fucking a month because I literally doubled down on school because it's the first time I wasn't playing sports.
Man, when they started
Yeah.
sending them goddamn grades to the house, man, trying to get everybody's ass whipped.
Yeah, but now it's online, bro. Now, dog, listen,
I
I'm
know
gonna
back
tell
in the day,
you.
though, you had to hope the lady at the fucking post office to let you get that shit.
My favorite is the grades aren't good, and the kids like, oh, they haven't updated yet, and you're like, better fucking start updating.
But you had but Jake
would distract the teacher so we get the fucking book.
Yeah, exactly.
But Jake, I this is so. I mean, not to sound weird about it, but this is so interesting. So you had an authority figure that was both aggressive and clearly violent, but he was also invested in your success. And the way he went about pursuing that maybe wasn't the best way, however you want to sort of describe it. Yep. But he clearly wanted you to succeed, right? Like, obviously, we don't need violence for the.
Zach, yeah. I'm gonna make your head spin around a little bit more. I don't know if Bobby's heard this, but I'm gonna give it to you real quick because we went down a rabbit hole. Okay, in the 9th grade, I was in wrestling for 2 weeks. I got the living shit beat out of me
by
wrestling. The seniors. No. I'm talking about these motherfuckers. I walked in there and they were whooping my ass at practice. And I'm talking about like 6 of the seniors were beating me up. I was coming home fucked up.
Yeah, if you don't know how to wrestle, man, you got experienced wrestler, and you don't have near the strength, you're dead.
Yeah.
You're dead.
I was
dead head and arm all day long. You're dead meat.
115 pounder, and then 190 pounders were. No, I'm talking about beating me up, punching me. They were holding me up, drop kicking me, WWF, DDT, knocking me out, clotheslining me. I'm talking about they were whooping my ass.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm getting beat up. Like I'm getting trashed. So 2 weeks later, I hid in the bathroom. One of the little dudes came in. I beat him. Bah, caught him, knocked him out. Everything stopped. Okay.
Didn't your dad tell you to go take him out? Basically,
this is Bob Donham fucking logic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
30 years later, 20 years later, because it was like 20 years later, 24 years later, Larry Nelson, the ringleader, the big ass 190 pound linebacker who played games with shit in his pants. Okay. My boy's like, yo, Larry's at Safeway. I jump in my car. I drive to Safeway. Larry missing a tooth. He in the fucking produce section.
It's on.
First thing out of my mouth. Hey, motherfucker, why were you whooping my ass freshman year? He said, your dad told us to beat you until you started fighting back.
Holy shit.
Wow.
I said, what? He said, oh, yeah, your dad. Your dad showed up. He caught us after practice one day, said, beat his ass. I don't care how bad you hurt him. Try not to break nothing, but beat his ass until he fights back. Okay? Now, mind you, this is 25 years later. I fucking said, Larry, hey, love you. I'll see you later. Jump in my car. I'm at home. I drive home to my dad. He's drunk as fuck in his chair. Okay? Hey, motherfucker. You had Larry and Todd Kramer and all those motherfuckers beat my ass, right? Like I literally, like I was gonna beat his ass, right?
Yeah.
I'll give him some fucking payback. He's 70, what was he? Like 74 years old. I'm about to whoop this motherfucker's ass, right? He leans back in he in his chair drunk already. He's like, that shit worked, didn't it?
You're Navy SEAL, aren't you?
He goes, you're a Navy SEAL, aren't you? He said, yeah, it doesn't look so bad now, does it?
Yeah, but that shit don't feel so great, man.
No, it doesn't feel so good. But I'll go back to ancient Greece again with Thucydides, right? He who is strongest is he who's trained in the hardest school. Man, I mean,
I lived motherfucking slave labor as a kid and slept on a floor, and would pray at night trying to understand why what I did so bad.
Yeah.
And I might get fucked up. And my dad, all you ever hear about was my dad's name all over town, talking about you ain't ever gonna be able to whoop him. And His Golden Gloves, and I've seen him do this, and I've seen him do that.
Oh, he's getting under your skin.
My
He's
dad
getting
would
under your
tell you
skin.
don't fight. He'd be like, now, no, somebody fuck with you, but don't you go looking for no fucking fights.
Yeah.
And he was serious about that. And I'm like, well, hell, that's all I hear about you. You know, he's like, go get your goddamn education.
Yeah.
But my dad grew up with his grandmother who lived through the Depression, and in the 8th grade was pulled out, and he was helping support the family by himself at 8. And to this day, he still takes care of my uncle. Like the whole family has always looked at him as the head of the family.
Yeah.
He's a hard motherfucker. Like but he was all he knows is the way he was raised.
Yeah.
So he raised me the way he was raised. And I'm just like, damn. But I will say this. My work ethic was better than everybody else's. Everything I do is to the extreme because I feel like he would critique it because he ain't gonna tell you nothing you did good. Like he can be like, see that fucked up edge over there? I guess you went ahead and hurried up. Damn.
Yeah. That's a slippery slope though too, because I mean, like
when I become an adult, because this is what he told me, because he apologized to me a couple years ago, and I let it all go because I was doing it to my kids because that's all I knew. That's how I was taught.
Yep. And that's how I started. That's how I started, Bobby. Like I was, and it was not because here was the deal. Ben knows me better. Like Ben knows my pitfalls, right? Like, dude, I would knock you the fuck out, bro, at the Naval Academy. Like I had some fucking problems. But
I was so mean at one time. My commander told me years later. He said, "You have no idea the amount of conversations were about you and how violent you had become." And I was like, "But that's what I use to motivate myself because I ain't a sad person. I get mad if you get me pissed. I'm gonna go fucking track you across the country. Like, it just motivates me."
Well, you know, I think that's the thing too. I mean, I think anger is always, you know, it's a tool. It's a tool to break up a pattern, you know, break up, you know, get out of trouble, stuff like that, get yourself out of danger. But you can't sustain it, and it burns a lot of bridges. You know, you're looking if you're trying to sustain relationships, anger is not the way to keep it going, especially if you're raising kids. I mean, like, you know, Jake's giving you a really raw story here, but I think the lesson is for everybody to take away, especially if you're watching and viewing this, is that Jake doesn't raise his kids that way. You know what I mean? Because there's another way to motivate them and lead them, teach them, and coach them. That is, you still gonna be easy on them. Doesn't mean to be easy on them, but it means there are other ways to empower them, support them, and push them and drive them. And you see what he's doing now with a lot of the stuff like, oh, you're going to disappoint the family and you're also going to disappoint yourself. This is what we do. This is our standard. This is the way we think. You know, this is how we do things. So
I just didn't get to see. I just seen my oldest daughter for the first time in 2 years. Like when she turned 18, she walked out this house on her own and went and got 2 jobs because it was more for her to do that than had to listen to me bitch about her coming in at 1 a.m.
Hey,
and it was only because I cared for her.
Good for her though, man. She's working.
She's a worker.
It's good.
And my dad.
That's success right there, man. She's working like that. That's
she's a hustler too, man.
Nice.
I mean, gorgeous girl. But she got hardcore work. I make her pay for her own car. I'm not gonna give her shit. She got one, you wrecked it. It's on you, player.
Amen.
Well, my dad a couple years ago, and it meant the world to me because he was watching how I was, and he's like, "Be easy on him," and I was like, "You punched me out one time for fucking putting my elbows on the table." You know, I'm like, dinner manners was a big deal.
So, Jake, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think your stepdad was like that because he felt like he went through certain things in his life as a young man, and he felt like he had a duty and obligation to make you strong, and the only way he felt like he could make you strong was to challenge you in unconventional ways?
I'm going to tell you what my sister told me. So he died in 14. Okay.
Okay.
And I've had a couple long conversations with my sister. My sister said, you saw the light side of him. And he did treat you better because he was trying to do differently with you than he did with me. Okay. My sister's 13 years older than my stepsister. Right?
Wow.
But she said that motherfucker, so there's another story that kind of tells the tale. So when he beat the 2 dudes in front of our house with a shovel and all their teeth were out in the middle of the fucking street, the police came up, and I was about 11 or 12 when this one happened. And the police showed up and they yelled from the street. So it's like 80 feet from the street to our house.
Okay.
And I couldn't understand, why are they yelling from the street? So my sister told me when I went and got my mom in 2020, I had a couple of long comments. My sister told me that, like, look, none of the policemen came in our yard because about 7 years before I showed up, when he was like 33, he beat up the whole police force unconscious in our backyard with a billy club.
What?
Okay, and beat them. She said all of them were unconscious in the backyard. And he told those motherfuckers, if you ever come to my house again, I will kill you. Okay. And so, like, it was stuff like that where I'd be like, because I always thought he was posturing, but now I realize there was no posture. No, that motherfucker was 100%.
He was real. Yeah, he was real.
And the other one, like I watched him almost drown in a swamp. So we were running beaver traps in a swamp, and he hit a hole and disappeared in chest waders, like full chest waders.
Yeah, that usually goes down.
And I was like, I was probably 9. I was in the canoe, like rebaiting traps and shit. And I saw a hand come up and grab a chain link fence. And he was able to pull himself up on the chain link fence and get a breath. It was like 10 feet before we were getting out, and he fell in this hole. And I didn't realize, I realize now, like, I would have just sat in the boat, and 10 minutes later, I'd been like, fuck, he didn't come up. Like, you know, so like,
shit.
he was hard. Like, there was stuff like Bobby's talking about growing up hard, and this is a thing I fight with, right? So like, Sunday we're gonna go move. I've been bullshitting on moving out of our old house into our new house. Sunday we're gonna go clean out a whole garage, get everything out. We're gonna work probably a solid 7 or 8 hours on Sunday morning.
Yeah. Fucking hate moving. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell the kids we're starting at 6 a.m. They all get up at 6. My house is up on fire at 6. We're gonna get up at 6. We're gonna go move. Mom gonna get up at 7, cook breakfast. On the return trip, we'll eat breakfast, and then we're going back to work, right? That is my thing. Like, I'm 53 now. I can't work half as hard as I used to work. But I tell people, like, we cut 5 cord of wood in 48 hours by hand. Chainsaw, he run a chainsaw, we split. I would get tired.
Split and stack.
Yeah, he would say, go lay down in the truck. I'd lay down, I'd wake up, go right back to fucking work. We had a 48-hour wood permit on Fort Lewis. There were some things in my life where, you know, like, we didn't have no money. So the water main broke. It's 80 feet. I told you, it's 80 feet to the street. He called his plumber buddy. He said, how much is going to be? He said, $1,500. He said, how much if I dig the ditch? He's like, I'll come do it for free.
He does
so
it
48 hours.
My dad does the same shit to this fucking day.
Yep. 48 hours, no school. You're not going to school no more.
We're digging the ditch.
We dug for 48 hours straight in hard packed Tacoma silicone clay, 4 feet down to the street. Then, okay, to get this, he took 2 days off of work. The plumber comes, hooks the shit up in like maybe 30 minutes, runs a new main line to the house, PVC. My dad looks at me and says, hey, I got to go to work. Finish this shit up.
Fill it in, yeah.
And it was another, it was another full day of work for me. I was probably like, I don't know, maybe like 10, 11 years old. So I filled the whole ditch back in. And for the longest, before they did the front, where they raised the street, I could look out front and see that ditch that I had dug straight through the yard because it was a little impression in the grass right there.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question, Jake?
Go ahead, Bobby.
This hit me a couple years ago, and I always used to listen to people talk about, oh, that hero with Michael Jordan and this and that. And I said, man, you know, I watched my dad get up at 4:30 every day his entire life, never miss work, go to work. I never heard him complain one motherfucking time. And I tell anybody, I said, that's a fucking goddamn man right there. I said, that's a hard dude. He never complained
my dad
one time about fucking having to take care of the house.
My dad would never complain, but he would quit in a minute. So he would take 18 months off every couple of years.
Mine wouldn't. Like if he
fuck that. My dad would claim unemployment for fucking.
He's gonna make them a millionaire, and he's so fucking loyal. But he would get up every day. It didn't matter what he felt like. I've never heard a goddamn complaint come out of his mouth my whole life. That's hard to put on them boots every day.
What kind of work was he doing, Jake?
And so circling it all the way back to no, go ahead.
No, you're fine. So no, this like
circling all the way back to the Michigan militia guy, where the fuck he was.
We ripped it this week. I don't know.
That's why.
We might get
this
punished.
Is why.
We might get punished by the big dogs, Aaron and Jay, but we went totally sideways on this one.
We lost control of this. This is it. Yeah.
So my dad was a truck driver. Okay. So get this. This is the crazy shit. He fucking brilliant. Okay. He had 7 semesters of engineering at University of Washington, walked with straight A's. walked out of college his last semester because he didn't want to sit in an office, started driving truck. Murdered his first wife probably a year after that because she caught him in bed with his best friend, blew her head off. Her mom got him out of prison, requested that he get. She wrote a letter to the governor requesting.
Don't ask
that he
these
get
questions.
pardoned.
How, Zach?
Sorry, my
This
bad.
is the war room. We don't ask these
His,
questions.
his mother, her mother,
Any
her
goddamn
mother
crime we
wrote a
talk
fucking
about is
letter.
allegedly.
That's right.
So, but the thing is, like, there was shit. Like, Zach, it was crazy, man. He spent every fucking penny he ever had. Didn't save a dime ever. Would sell everything in the fucking house. Like, we bought a boat. We bought this $8,000 boat in cash, right? And I go out to the garage and say, what the fuck is all this shit at? Had to sell it. Had to buy that fucking boat. You don't think we got that boat for free, do you? Like
I'm on a boat.
Oh, this is where the Discord advice comes from, like going to the pawn shop and all that.
Yeah,
Boats and hoes, though,
absolutely,
baby.
right?
Boats
Like,
and hoes. The Nina,
so, Doug,
the
I had
Pinta,
more
the
money
Santa
in
Maria.
at 11 years old. I had more money in my bank account than my
Bobby,
family.
at least
dad.
I'm hiding mine. No, I'm just kidding.
But it was
Jesus.
terrible, man. But yeah, he drove truck, you know, and he would take years
Oh
off.
yeah,
man.
no, I got this.
So,
Years off.
And years off. That motherfucker wouldn't work for a year and a half, 2 years. And was fine with it. Like, we'd be broke as fuck. Like, Bobby talking about sleeping on the floor. I never slept on the floor, but I tell motherfuckers, the most hardening thing in my fucking life was 3rd grade Christmas. Because I didn't get a fucking present.
Damn.
Bro, I got tools. I got a fucking shovel because they wanted.
No, I got a plastic pinball game this big. And I went to my fucking room and motherfuck God for hours. You motherfucker! And I told myself, that's why I'm not broke.
I feel like right now there's like a Saturday Night Live skit. Like Zach's like, where am I? And there's a bubble in Zach's head. Like, where am I? Why am I here? He was talking about all this academic stuff about analyzing the people. And he comes in here. We're setting him straight, ladies and gentlemen.
I guarantee you, we talk about in Zach's house on Christmas.
We talk
no, but stockings that's this motherfucking big. That bitch got a PlayStation 5 in it. Man, my shit come with a goddamn single candy cane, a fucking orange, some goddamn walnuts you couldn't bust. And if you fuck around and did right, you know what I'm saying? You might got that book of lifesavers.
No, I was
well, you think that's bad? I got a dead frog in my friggin' stocking. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but Jake, but I think part of the stuff that, you know, not to make a joke, but to circle back, like, I think the big question.
Don't try to analyze all this. Don't try.
I'm not trying to analyze it.
I'm kidding.
I think we always ask this question of purpose and meaning.
Yeah.
And as young men, role models, whether you're getting that role model at home and whether it's imperfect or it's perfect, or you're getting that role model at church or in your mosque, like, young men are so impressionable and we want to believe in something. And it's innate, and it's, you look at the last, as long as there's been recorded human, Beowulf, right? Like, the original legend. Every young man
killed that monster.
Who ever heard of Beowulf and read Beowulf was like, I want to fucking be Beowulf, right? And then they looked at their father, and whether he was, you know, the shittiest person in the world or the greatest person in the world, it didn't matter. They are motivated. They're driven by their father's actions and how their dad's. I mean, you know, every young boy wants to have that father figure, and if they can't find it in their own dad, they're going to find it somewhere else. And so,
some of these goddamn kids ain't worth a fuck. I'm just going to say some of them lost college.
Hey, I'm a parent.
I'm trying to be stoic here.
Goddamn FTK, baby, FTK.
Woo!
I'm gonna tell you this, Bobby. It ain't got nothing to do with the kids. It's all on the parents.
I understand that, but at the same point, in your life,
sometimes,
you grown,
sometimes some shit can go down though, where people make choices. You know, kids make choices. They want to be about that life.
21-year-old fucking man in the service, you can't goddamn be pouting over your goddamn kids about what your childhood was. All right,
amen.
You a grown goddamn man now.
Amen to that. You know, because I'll tell you, they're kids. Sometimes kids are going to do stuff. You set everything up, everything's good, and fucking people, they make their choices, man. They're all of a sudden like, I'm gonna choose this adventure, and you're like, don't choose that adventure. Ben, I don't advise you to, but they're gonna choose that adventure, and they're gonna go down that fucking adventure. And then someday, like you said, prodigal son, all this stuff, they're gonna come back with the adventure they chose, and it may be the worst thing you can imagine that puts you through hell or whatever like that. So, you know what I mean? I mean, I agree with you so much in so many ways. And I think all the teachings, all the experience, and all the example you can set does matter a lot. However, it is a choose your own adventure book, right? In life.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's, you
No,
know,
this is
so
100%
I'm gonna
right.
be
Yeah.
that fucking ass whoop one goddamn time because they don't think that shit's real. And 99.9% of Americans can't fight like they think they can.
that's 100% true, man. That is so
Listen,
true.
man, I got the best story.
That's why I have a
ever,
Glock.
okay?
I don't have to go to combatives. I
I-
just
And a
I
lot of
got-
people suck with their
I'm-
guns too.
Yeah,
Hey, we
that's
gonna
it,
get
yeah.
out of here. It's 6:44. We've been on family for a long time. I'm
I'm
gonna
sorry,
throw
man.
this out.
Let's get to the shit.
We done with the motherfucking podcast. I'm gonna
Yeah,
throw this
yeah.
And
out.
so then at Christmas
Well, yeah,
of
church-
1991, I received a Star Wars figure.
This is 5 years ago, man. 5 years ago. So my oldest son talking about, I want to fight, man. I want to fight. I said, hey, bro, you better be careful, man. Like, you're gonna run across the wrong dude. They're gonna knock you out. No, Dad, I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna fight. We on the playground with my wife and her friends from college, and they got 4 boys out there, right? This kid ain't but like 6 years old. Let me say, you want to fight? The little kid don't even say nothing, just punches him as hard as he can in his stomach. My son falls off the top of the little thing, like he probably 6 feet in the air, falls off, crying. The women are like, oh my God. I said, be quiet. Sit your ass right there. Don't say shit. I'll take care of this. So he on the ground crying for like 5 minutes. He looks over at me. He looks over at me.
Oh.
I don't even say shit. I'm the fuck. I don't know what happened. He come over. I said, I told you. Don't be asking for a fight if you don't want to fight. I said, go back over to play. He stopped crying, went back out there, right? 9 years old. But like, to your point, like,
Yeah.
I'm not doing shit. You. I heard him clear as day. You want to fight?
Yeah.
Man, that little 6-year-old just said, yeah, gave it right to him. You don't want none of this, you know.
Hey, the first fight I ever got into in my neighborhood, like I pretty, you know, rough and tumble, tons of boys, like 13 boys, right? Like there's fights all the time, knock down, drag out, crazy. First one, this dude was 2 years older than me. And when you're young, like whatever, 10, 11, 12, that's significant, man. This dude reached inside my mouth and fish hooked me, tore the shit out of my mouth. This was like a savage. So like, it's like literally my whole neighborhood's out there watching because it's like the pastime, right? Everyone fights.
Yeah.
And so I'm the youngest dude in the neighborhood, and they're like, all right, good, Ben, get back in there. So I'm getting punched in the eye, punched in the mouth, you know, fish hooked. I'm getting jacked up. It's like really bad. And like, I think this kid's realizing at this point, he can't leave. Like he can't leave the arena. He can't leave the fight. Like the fight's never going to end until we decide it's over. So the neighborhood decides it's over. And so I'm fighting. And like I start getting some steam, you know, fighting. Okay. My buddy jumps in there. My friend jumps in. So we're beating the crap out of this kid fighting. And it's so bad. Anyway, they kicked his ass the whole way home too. It's kind of a neighborhood thing, right? But this is my first fighting experience. Was like, I don't even know how it started. It was like we were playing football, and all of a sudden the kid like socked me or
Threw
something,
down.
and I punched him back. And then he like reaches in. It's my introduction to dirty fighting, right?
Did you get stitches?
I can't remember. I remember my mom being up on the porch. My mom's up on the porch like this, like, you know what I'm saying? Like this is the type of neighborhood, dude. It was like, you know, to handle your business. Because like, you know, my dad was like, you know, World War II and stuff in Greece and Europe, like watched people getting slaughtered and hung, and I can't, you know, all these stories and all stuff like that. So I was like, if this fight, who cares? No guns, no knives, we're okay. And you know, and we were okay. Because, you know, like the older kids in the neighborhood, but this kid wasn't okay. The whole way home. I want to bring fighting back to over, they beat his ass the whole way back to his house because he was an outsider from another neighborhood. And
I want to bring fighting back to elementary school.
With 2 men, we'll settle it like that. We'll have more respect for each other after it's over with.
This is right. Yeah,
and we were friends later. Yeah. We were friends later, but because he was a cheap ass, they beat his ass.
Over here, and it was like we were talking about. And so,
yeah, man, you were a fighter, right? For 12 years, you said.
You what?
You fought MMA for 12 years?
Yeah.
Nice. I had no idea.
So, but I'm gonna tell you a story about that though. Is I was 5-0, having a very hard time getting matches. One, I was a lot more athletic, and I had way more brute strength. Like I had a natural strength. I used to bench press 435 at 170 pounds.
How much?
435.
How much did you weigh?
170.
Dude, quick twitch, man.
I grew muscles and a tricep muscle like you never seen.
Yeah.
I mean, I could lift and strength to the point that I could make my nose start bleeding. Like I could just keep going.
Yeah. Were
Anyway,
you fast too? Could you move fast? Were you fast?
Extremely fast.
Yeah,
Full
yeah.
440, and I can fucking jump. I used to win money because I didn't think I could jump. I could almost dunk. I used to almost dunk the ball as a kid. Like fucking.
Fucking Bobby's black. Bobby's black. Damn it.
Bobby went to a 60% black school, bro. Like you go in the locker room, you had to fight.
You had to keep it fucked up, man. Genetics,
So I wanted
ain't
to be
giving
good
shit.
at it because I never wanted to be that guy that, you know, you get that ass whooped, or like if you get that one on somebody and he get up, like what you got now, motherfucker. So I went to a professional. I got invited to go to a professional gym. And they're like, "Hey, this is where you need to be." They beat the fuck out of me. They humbled me to a point that, and I wasn't gonna quit, but I didn't know what to do.
How old were you?
They hurt me bad.
How old were you? How old?
28.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit, you
Oh,
did
so
that.
you're young.
You're
Like,
feeling
I
that.
was I was good, but pro level, when I went to that I'm talking about UFC level.
You're in
Next
the army.
level,
You're
yeah.
already in the army then, right? Yeah.
They whipped my. I mean, dude, they humbled the shit out of me. They
That's another
humbled me
level,
bad.
man. Those dudes are the people we see on TV. Like people always think like, yeah, maybe.
Oh, when
these
motherfuckers
guys are
hollering,
athletes.
get up. No, you can't. But what I did learn after that was there's nothing in it for me to fucking get in a fight or a scuffle with somebody because there's nothing he can do to win.
Yeah.
Like
right.
he don't even have a puncher's chance because there's so much science involved in it and everything else. Now they might get in a scuffle. That's what I used to like with guys. Get in a scuffle or whatever, and then they think it's gonna break up. I'm like, baby, I got you for 15 more minutes in this motherfucker.
You know, it's always scary. You see Mike Tyson. The thing about Mike Tyson is that like everyone will be like, he was so huge. He wasn't. He's big.
He was an
compared
intimidator
to
though.
Normal people, you can't hit him. He's as quick as a cat. If you watch him,
Yeah,
these big guys were way bigger. They couldn't hit him. And then he's like, he's throwing a baseball. The speed of a baseball. He's hitting you with a baseball on the side of the head. I mean,
he was knocking you out with those right there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not.
You
think so? You think Mike? Oh, you think so?
You think so? Everybody likes Mike. He wouldn't have made it in the 70s with the Hagglers and the Hearns. That was a motherfucking era of goddamn killers, man.
Yeah, those guys are good.
All right, listen up. Let's get this fucking train wreck back on the track.
And then Christmas of 1985, I received the goldfish.
It's my fault. It's my fault.
When left with no moderator, new contestants.
Aaron's right now want to kill us.
Aaron's like, God damn. All right, y'all, man. We appreciate you jumping on the War Room. Zach, tell them how they can find you, where they can get at you, what you're doing. Give your plug, brother.
So Dead War Society, I'm running a show / podcast. You can watch it on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. I talk about everything from ancient Sparta and the Peloponnesian War and then the Persian Wars all the way up to Robert. I did a whole 7-part series on Robert Rogers, where he became a Ranger, how he became a Ranger, a bunch of stuff he did in the French Indian War in detail that will probably put you to sleep, by the way. It's not surface level stuff.
That's great, man.
That's and then I just started a series on the history of Special Forces Green Berets post World War II, which I'm going to wrap up here. And then I'm super excited. I'm going to do probably like a 5-part series on the reconquest of Spain by the Christian Crusaders, and then what eventually led to the invasion of Mexico. So yeah, I do military history. Yeah.
Nice, man. That's
Make sure we get our number because I'm gonna tell you who I am here in a minute. You can be like, what the fuck?
Cool. Yeah, sounds good.
Go ahead, Bobby.
So I work for a nonprofit called Tours of Duty. I go to Southeast Asia and I pull out fucking POW MIAs that were left.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
I'm supposed to go to the Philippines and do one for the World War II.
Okay.
I can't say who and how many I have done because I have to hand them over, but it's very prominent folk. Let me just put it that way. And I'll say something else, and fuck y'all if y'all listening. In 93, they had the Senate Select Committee, and what they did was the biggest cover up of the POWs ever. Okay, there was a man on the vice chair named Bob Smith, and he took a guy that come back, and they discredited him. And me listening to it, knowing the shit I know, I said, yeah, that shit on that man if he showed up later and they'd already said everybody was gone. You know what I mean? They go smear him. He's a defector. He took him over to Vietnam and found all the places that our intel agency said never existed. Bob comes back. Senator McCain and Kerry get on the board. Okay. All the files come up missing. John Kerry shredded and burned every damn. We had 10,000 POW sightings, MIA.
Whoa.
So this is where it gets funky. Well, then you get the McCain bill. Everything to do with POW MIA becomes classified. You can't look at it no more. Anything that's left. So I got to thinking in my head. I said, I wonder if that old dude's still alive. I want to talk to him. I run him down. He's a nice guy. And he said, he tells me the story. And he said, if there was ever another copy, he said, the only copy that might ever been of them sightings, he said there was 10,000 of them, maps and draw. I mean, he says you could see the men. Would have been the investigator. And I said, all right, I got to go find an investigator. Well, he did. But I found he wrote a book with a woman. And I found her. I made a couple calls, and he did have a copy. And I got them hoes hid because they don't want that coming out.
Wow, you got it. Wow.
Let's go 5
Allegedly.
people, Bobby. I want to come with you, Bobby.
Hey, Bobby, I got to make a trip to Southeast Asia here in the next month or so. So I'll come with you. Yeah, for sure.
Hey, man, I speak
Let's go,
Filipino.
I don't
I'm not
speak
good for anything. I'm good at land.
No, for real. I speak Tagalog. I speak Tagalog.
So,
I speak Filipino.
I won't say I found him. I know where everybody's big about Jerry Mad Dog Shriver's.
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
I wrote the book on him, the new one, the real one. I helped my good friend of mine,
where he's at?
Denniston. We finished the book together.
Nice.
And it's a really fucked up book. And what's going to happen is you're going to learn the truth of what happened to all of them guys. And they were used for bait. I'm sorry anybody's going to get mad at me. But if you got called to go do a bomb damage assessment, it was like, fuck, we're done. But
Where
anyway,
can you get that book?
Oh, no kidding.
It's being published right now.
Wow.
When is it going to be released?
Should be after the first of the year. It's about 1,100 pages with 400 maps, photographs, everything. The Shriver family gave us all their belongings.
Can we get it on
tell you how I
Amazon, or
found
where
it.
can we get it?
I'll get you some copies. I get
Okay.
Gordon, because we're only making a few copies. We're only going to make a short limited. He's only
Well,
limited.
put me on the short list. I want a copy.
I want to tell you how I got into this though, because I've been listening to the stories, and I'm like, man, why the hell did that recon team keep getting fucking made all the time? To me, I'm like, everybody else is talking how cool it was. I'm like, God damn, y'all suck.
Yeah.
It's
I
not
get
so
made
cool.
everywhere
Not
you
so
go.
cool. You're walking a trail, and all of a sudden, there's a NVA
Smoked.
company.
Well, I mean, like they're hitting the ground with the LZ, and then the bird goes up, and then they're in the middle of the 1,000. And I'm like, me and the intel guy got to fight after this if I make it out.
That's nuts.
But anyway, so I had met this guy. I started this deal, man, where I help fucking Vietnam vets or families, like they want to know something about their people. I go dig them up. I give it to them for free. Something I love to do. I recondition the photos for them. Tell them what they did. If it's something bad, I'll tell them I won't find nothing. Anyway,
where can they
I
find
helped
you,
this
dude?
guy out, and nobody would help him. And he had left a message like 17 years ago, and asking me if you could get your throat cut by a parachute, with your helmet and a jump. I'm like, man, I heard of some people getting fucked up with a static line, but not no throat cut. So I hit him up, and it's a 20-year-old comment. I found it on Shriver's page. I reach out to the guy, and he's 80 years old, wood maker. And the way I found him, he's got one video on YouTube with 47 views and one comment. That's how I was able to get a hold of him. We get to talking and shit. His brother was the fucking lone survivor out there on that goddamn mission, and he left a journal. So
did you get your hands on that, Bobby?
I have it right now in my possession. It belongs to me.
Nice.
Holy shit.
Bobby, how can all these vets get a hold of you, brother?
They can get a hold of me. Our nonprofit is towardsofduty.org, and you can go down through there. But if you want to get up with me, you can find me on X, fucking Facebook, Instagram. You can look for me. I done sent you a friend request. You won't even fucking accept my request on Facebook. Or not on Facebook, on
Fuck,
Instagram.
bro. Listen. I'm 53 years old. I don't use Facebook.
What does that mean? You got them. You want
Fuck, bro. If it ain't
all you gotta
Ruby's
do is
hitting me up, bro,
accept. This is my name. They call me Alamo Joe.
Hey, Hey, I got to jump, fellas. I got to jump. Hey, you guys
Yeah,
looking for
same.
me? Go
But
listen.
anyway,
I'd
y'all
appreciate
come
if you
see
guys
me.
go ahead and subscribe to my
Me and you
YouTube.
gotta
It's
get
it's
together.
new. I'm trying to be. I'm trying to. I'm trying to be like.
Go ahead, Ben.
I'm trying to be like. Hey, for finding me, guys, hop onto my YouTube. It's new. I'm just like getting it going right now. I'm trying to be like Jake and Jay and Nate and Bobby. I think you're up there with Jay as well too. So trying to get that going. But you can find some new content. I talk about a lot of personal growth, leadership, all kinds of positive, supportive stuff like that
Hey,
on
Ben,
there.
if
A
I
little
get
bit
your
different than
contact and
what we
stuff
cover
tonight,
inside the war room. But yeah, man, definitely hit me
What's
up
it
there. And then
called? What's the YouTube channel?
Ben Pappas. That's it. My name.
Okay.
I
So
said,
you'll
Ben,
find me
get your
there.
contact info,
And
man.
then,
I'm gonna hook you up with some stuff.
Yeah, man, hit me up there. And then Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, all over the place. But I've got my link tree, all kinds of stuff. Got this good coaching membership that's rolling right now. Got a growing community of supportive people. And I go live once a month with this, with my members and the coaching membership. And, it's a replay, free replays all the time with the live sessions and all that stuff. Next live is tomorrow. So anyway, that's where you guys can find me. Great being here. Thank you for everyone's support. I love hearing the stories today. And Christmas of 1981, I received nothing.
Ben, are you Greek? Is your family Greek?
Yes, sir, they are.
Yeah,
God
me
damn,
too.
I thought
Yeah,
it was
I knew
Spanish
it.
this whole
Hey,
awesome.
fucking time.
Hey.
I didn't want to
Sorry,
call him
yeah.
Mexican. I feel
Hey, I'm
bad with
ending,
the
Bobby.
story
I'm
for
ending this motherfucker.
Yeah, you were giving me all
Hey,
kinds of
All right, I'm
Hey,
leaving. I'm sorry. I just had to
back
say
in
that.
Nam, baby. Back in Nam. Until next
Hey,
week.
Christmas in 1979. See you, fellas.
Later.
See you guys. All right, cheers.